Good evening, and we're going to recap the wild card weekend before we preview the divisional round. The Indianapolis Colts defeated the Kansas City Chiefs 45-44 after trailing 38-10 going into the third quarter. T.Y. Hilton for the Colts had 13 catches for 224 yards and 2 touchdowns. A 64-yard touchdown on the final scoring drive for the Colts over Kendrick Lewis and Quentin Demps of the Chiefs. For the Kansas City Chiefs, Alex Smith throwing for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in a losing effort. The New Orleans Saints got their first road win in the playoffs as they defeated the Philadelphia Eagles 26-24 on a final second field goal by Shane Graham. The Eagles offense was held under 300 yards for the first time all year as the Saints defense sacked Nick Foles 4 times. LaShawn McCoy was held to just 80 rushing yards on the day. The San Diego Chargers came into Cincinnati and shocked the Bengals 27-10. Eddie Dalton was sacked 3 times and threw 2 more interceptions and fumbled once as the San Diego Charger defense, led by defensive coordinator John Pagano and his blitz-heavy scheme, kept Andy Dalton off all game, and A.J. Green, their star receiver, was held to just 4 receptions. And the final game, the San Francisco 49ers went into Green Bay and defeated the Green Bay Packers 23-20. So on the final drive, Kaepernick drove his Niners down the field till down inside the 20-yard line for a Phil Dawson field goal. The 49ers have beaten the Packers now for the 2nd straight time in the playoffs. Just pretty good game out of Kaepernick. He struggled early, but caught fire late, doing his magic, scrambling, picking up first downs on the ground. The Packer offense was pretty good all game. Eddie Lacy rushing for 80 yards. He brought some power to the Green Bay running game. Aaron Rodgers threw for only 137 yards, did throw 1 touchdown in the second quarter to Jordy Nelson, but the 49er pass rush kept Aaron Rodgers contained for most of the game. In Cincinnati, the San Diego Chargers rushed over 130 yards, and Ronnie Brown and Danny Woodhead scored rushing touchdowns. Phillip Rivers threw a passing touchdown to Ladarius Green in the first quarter. In the Saints game, the Saints also rushed over 100 yards, including 98 by Mark Ingram. Saints finding their running game was key in their win over the Philadelphia Eagles. And for the Kansas City Chiefs, they lost Jamal Charles, Donnie Avery, Brandon Flowers, and Justin Houston to injuries during the game. Jamal Charles was lost in the first quarter due to a concussion. He did not return. They lost Donnie Avery and Brandon Flowers in the third quarter to concussions. They also did not return. And they lost Justin Houston in the fourth quarter due to a knee injury. He did not return. They also lost rookie running back Niall Davis to a knee injury in the third quarter. He did not return. All those players are expected to be healthy for the start of 2014's training camp, and they are all expected to be healthy for the start of week 1 of next year. For this divisional round, we have the San Francisco 49ers going to Carolina, Niners as 5th seed, the Panthers as 2nd seed. We have the San Diego Chargers traveling to Denver to take on the Broncos, the Chargers as 6th seed, Denver as the 1 seed. The Saints traveling to Seattle for the second time this year. Seattle, the number 1 seed, New Orleans, the 6th seed, and the 4th seeded Colts going to the 2nd seeded Patriots in a game that is supposed to be 58 degrees and lots of rain. For the Indianapolis Colts, Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton are hopefully able to connect multiple times on Sunday. And for the Colts defense, the slot cornerback Gregory Toller, he was lost last week due to an injury. He's out for the year. For the Patriots, they have featured LeGarrette Blount over the past few weeks, and over the past month, he's averaged 6 yards a carry. He will be a key factor in the ground game. And also for the Patriots, key matchup is going to be their slot receivers against these cornerbacks. Chiefs featured Dwayne Bowe in the slot multiple times, and he proceeded to have 8 catches for 150 yards and 1 touchdown against Indianapolis Colts. So they are clearly susceptible to the slot receiver. For the Seattle Seahawks, their cover 2 defense looks to keep Jimmy Graham contained as they did in the first matchup, and their wide receivers, underrated but very talented, look to match up well against these backup Saint cornerbacks. Starting cornerback for the Saints, Keenan Lewis, is still uncertain for this week's matchup. For New Orleans Saints, who look to get Jimmy Graham involved, he was held pretty well by DeMeco Ryans in the Eagles game. He'll look to have a bigger impact this week, and the Saints' newfound running game will be key to keeping Drew Brees and the Saints offense balanced in a big matchup against the Seahawks. For the Carolina Panthers, their keys will be Cam Newton's passing and running, and their pass defense, which is underrated, but they do have playmaking ability, and they are very clutch in passing situations and late in ball games. For the 49ers, their key will be their run game and Colin Kaepernick's ability to keep the Panther defense guessing. For the San Diego Chargers, their keys will be their running game, led by Ryan Matthews and Danny Woodhead, and their blitzing ability. They blitz multiple times, out of many different packages against the Cincinnati Bengals, and each time they had very good success in getting to Andy Dalton and or disrupting his pass. And for the Broncos, Wes Walker will return this week. He did not play in the last matchup that Denver lost, and he hasn't played in the last 4 weeks, not including the bye. So his return will definitely be a boost for the record-setting Denver Bronco offense. And their second key will be Noshawn Moreno, Monty Ball, and their running game. And a very underrated factor in the Denver Broncos' chances for success will be their special teams, notably kicker Matt Prater and returnman Trendon Holiday. Now for the San Francisco 49ers at Carolina, they met earlier this year in San Francisco. San Francisco did not have Michael Crabtree, and the Carolina Panthers won 10-9. They will have Crabtree, and they will have Bolden, and they will also have Davis. So this matchup will be much different from the last matchup, but Carolina's suffocating defense should have no problem keeping Colin Kaepernick under wraps. For the Niners, Kaepernick's going to have to throw the ball more. He did better passing the ball against the Green Bay Packers on Sunday, but against his Carolina defense, he's going to have to do a little bit more. And I don't know if he's ready to take that next step in the passing game. For the Carolina Panthers, Steve Smith, he might not go this week. He downgraded himself from 71% to 57% today due to that PCL sprain as well as those lingering knee problems. If he's unable to go, Brandon LaFell will have to take his spot, and none of the Panther receivers pose much of a threat outside of speed to the 49ers secondary. Another key for the Panthers will be their running game with D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart, as well as H-back Mike Tolbert. I'm going to take the Carolina Panthers. Their defense while both defenses are very good, Carolina's is younger, and they're facing a less imposing offense than the 49er defense is. I like the 49ers' chances, but Kaepernick's inability to pass the ball down the field in critical situations will keep the Niners from advancing. In Denver, San Diego's bringing a very strong running game and a defense, while underrated and at the bottom of the league standings in total defense. They have been very opportunistic over the last few weeks, and they have definitely improved their play, especially in critical situations, intercepting Andy Dalton twice in the second half, as well as recovering a fumble of Andy Dalton. They're going to have a much stiffer challenge this week, now that they'll be facing all three of Denver's receivers, as well as Julius Thomas and they'll also be on the road. For the Broncos, they'll have to go against Keenan Allen and the Charger offense. They struggled a bit against Keenan Allen. The last matchup, he had 2 receiving touchdowns, including one which he hurdled a couple of Denver defenders. I'm going to take the Broncos over the Chargers in this one. They did a pretty good job covering Thomas and Decker, but I think adding Wes Walker is going to be the backbreaker. They won't be able to cover all 3, and don't forget Broncos tight end Julius Thomas, who's definitely emerged this year as a go-to guy in the red zone for Peyton Manning. The Saints taking on the Seahawks for the second time this year. First matchup in Week 13 on Monday Night Football. Seahawks demolished the Saints 34-7. Drew Brees was held to just 197 passing yards, and the Saints had 3 turnovers. I think it's going to be the same this time around. I don't see the Saints being able to pass the ball against this Seahawks secondary, which even without Brandon Browner, Brandon Maxwell has done very well this year in place of Brandon Browner. Had 4 interceptions over the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season. For the Seahawks, the Saint defense has improved this year, but Russell Wilson's ability to extend plays and make clutch throws from the pocket, as well as moving the football with his legs, I think will be the deciding factor. And don't forget the Seahawks running back Marshawn Lynch. I think he will also provide a nice boost in the running game, taking Seattle over the Saints. And for the final divisional game, Colts at Patriots, T.Y. Hilton against Aqib Talib will be a very interesting matchup. Last time Talib faced a speed receiver, Josh Gordon, he got torched for 150 yards and a touchdown. Although Talib has done a very good job this year at shutting down star receivers. He shut down A.J. Green, shut down Julio Jones. He also did a pretty good job in certain matchups. He did a very good job against Jimmy Graham. We'll see how he does against T.Y. Hilton. The Colts don't have a lot of receivers, very good ones outside of T.Y. Hilton, so that shouldn't be a problem there. They lost Brandon Spikes, a middle linebacker, this week to an injury. Looks like undrafted rookie Dane Fletcher will probably make the start at middle linebacker, an area the Colts might want to attack with their running game Donald Brown and Trent Richardson. Although after his early game fumble last week against the Chiefs, wondering if Trent Richardson will get more carries this week or less, considering the magnitude of this game. For the Patriots, they look to attack this Colts secondary, which can give up the big play at times. They gave up a 79-yard touchdown to Donnie Avery, so it's a 63-yarder to Bo early last week against the Chiefs. Danny Amendola and Julian Edelman should have a pretty good game in the slot as well as on the outside. And besides Robert Mathis, the Colts don't have a lot of pass rush, so Tom Brady should see a decent amount of time in the pocket. And Patriots' key here will be the running of LeGarrette Blount. He's done a very good job in place of Stephen Ridley over the last month or so. I think he should have over 100 yards on the ground and 1 or 2 touchdowns as well against the Indianapolis Colts. Another key factor, Shane Vereen out of the backfield for the Patriots. Colts gave up 2 receiving touchdowns by running backs last week, one to Anthony Sherman and then one by Niall Davis. So they might have some trouble covering the shiftiness of Shane Vereen. Other NFL notes, Calvin Johnson is injured, so he will not go in the Pro Bowl. Alshon Jeffrey will take his spot. The Redskins found themselves a new head coach, Jay Gruden, former Bengal offensive coordinator. It is a 5-year deal. Jay Gruden, he will retain Jim Haslett as defensive coordinator, and he upgraded their tight ends coach, Sean McVay, to offensive coordinator, although nothing is official, so he still might decide to sign a new offensive coordinator. As of right now, those are the OC and DC for the Washington Redskins. And according to Robert Griffin, he does not want to run the read option anymore. He wants to run a pro-style offense. It's very interesting to see how he'll do, since he's run the option all his entire career. Jay Gruden will be bringing his West Coast offense to Washington, so it'll be very interesting to see how well he does in this new system. RG3, his completion percentage dropped by a few major points this year, going from 65% to 60%, and his touchdown to interception ratio dropped, his rushing yards dropped, but his interceptions did increase. And the final note for the NFL news, Kansas City Chiefs will intend sometime this offseason to re-sign Alex Smith. He has 1 year left and $7.5 million on his current contract. Kansas City Chiefs do not want to let him go, as he proved to be very key in their resurgence this year. And for the teams that got knocked out, the Chiefs, Bengals, Packers, and Eagles, they have some things they might have to work on this year. The Philadelphia Eagles, they have their defense. Defense struggled this year, even when the offense is doing well. Cornerback and safety will be a must. Kicker, Alex Henry, they're pretty accurate, but he's not a long-range kicker. Will they try to get a new kicker with a bigger leg there? And for Jeremy Maclin and Riley Cooper, they will be free agents this year. And Maclin says he would sign a 1-year deal with the Eagles to boost his value. For the Eagles, let's hope they're there. But for their former coach, Andy Reid, for the Chiefs, they have some free agents they might want to sign as well. Kendrick Lewis and Quentin Demps, both on the final touchdown play by T.Y. Hilton. They will get serious looks. Kendrick Lewis probably will not be re-signed. Quentin Demps averaged 30 yards a kick return, so he might be re-signed, but his lacking in pass coverage might do him in as well. For the Cincinnati Bengals, they're a pretty good team, but the offseason question will be Andy Dalton. Will the Bengals keep him as their starting quarterback, or will they look for another in the future? He has 1 more year left on his rookie contract, so there might be some questions at the quarterback position for the Cincinnati Bengals. And the final team that was eliminated, Green Bay Packers, their defense. The offense played very well this year, even without Aaron Rodgers over the last half of the season. The defense definitely has some questions at safety and cornerback, as well as outside linebacker opposite of Clay Matthews. And now we're just going to go over 2 or 3 key plays here. We're going to talk about the Colts' final play on the game, the Chiefs, that they won. Andrew Luck, 64-yarder to T.Y. Hilton. And on this play, which was a very crucial play in the game, I'm going to break it down here, see how the Colts were able to do it. Here, the Indianapolis Colts in a shotgun set. T.Y. Hilton is the second receiver. Derrick Rogers is the outside guy. And Griff Whalen is the inside guy. Chiefs are playing nickel defense with Quentin Demps and Kendrick Lewis playing 2 deep zone. Make sure that nothing gets past them. Here, 2 deep zone. Sean Smith is on the outside on T.Y. Hilton. Sean Smith got burned multiple times in the game, and on the final play he would also get burned. Derrick Rogers runs the out route. Griff Whalen comes inside, and Kobe Fleener, the tight end, goes on the corner pattern. Andrew Luck runs play action, which Sean Smith bites on, even briefly, which allows T.Y. Hilton to get past him. Andrew Luck just actually throws a pretty good ball. T.Y. Hilton catches it, goes right by both of the safeties who arrive late, and T.Y. Hilton scores the touchdown. Critical play here by the Chiefs safeties, biting on the play action and not arriving to the receiver in time. Quentin Demps also got burned on the final play against the Chargers earlier in the year which also resulted in a Charger win. Quentin Demps might not be there. He did have a negative 4.4 Pro Football Focus rating, so he definitely struggles in pass coverage, even with his excellent return skills. For Indianapolis Colts, this play is going to be huge for them against the Patriots. The Patriots do not have their linebacker Brandon Spikes or Mayo or Wilfork, so the inside will be extremely weak for the Patriots. And if they can get T.Y. Hilton going, as well as the inside running game going, the Indianapolis Colts will have a lot of success against the Patriots. And speaking of the Patriots, second thing we want to look at is their running game. The Patriots' running game has been pivotal all year, giving Tom Brady a lot of easy reads, as the defenses have been a little susceptible to his hard play action. One of their favorite runs, and really a run that's taken over the NFL, is the stretch play. Now, you wouldn't think a 250-pound running back would run a wide play so well, but because the Patriots block it so well and Blunt has such good vision, it makes it a lot easier. We're going to take this from the final week of the season against the Buffalo Bills, and just one example of the Patriots' uses of the stretch play. Here, the Bills are in a 4-3 defense. I want to note the inside linebacker here, Kiko Alonso. He's a rookie. He has over 100 tackles, but he will be victimized on this play. The outside receivers do a great job blocking, and there's two things about the stretch play. First of all, it's an outside run. You normally run with smaller but quicker linemen. Patriots not very big at offensive line, so this is a very nice run for them. Compared to the 49ers, who are big maulers, you will not see them running the stretch play. So here they're going to run a zone stretch, and the difference with the zone stretch and a man stretch is zone blocking. Rather than blocking the guy in front of them, they block based on zones, where like the Niners, they're man blocking, they block the guy that's directly in front of them. So here on the zone stretch, the Patriots have James Devlin, the fullback, in the eye. This is going to be a key part of the run. They're going to run the zone stretch here. They're not going to take out Kiko Alonso, which appears to be a problem early in the run. But LeGarrette Blount's vision turns out to be the deciding factor in the run that ultimately turns into a touchdown. So here they're going to run the zone stretch. They're going to take out outside linebacker here. The tight end's going to come up on the other outside linebacker here and seal the edge. They're going to stretch it to the left, and they're going to run a cross block with the left tackle, and the center is going to come across. And now it looks as if it's going to be a bad run because Alonso comes unblocked inside, but because he reads the run so well, and because the outside linebacker is blocked, rather than trying to follow Devlin, who actually overruns the block, he cuts it back inside. Great move by such a big running back. Cuts it back inside. Because it's a stretch play, the safeties all coming down in one direction. LeGarrette Blount cuts it back the other way, and by the time the Bengals safeties realize where Blunt's going, he's already raced off for a 37-yard touchdown. The Indianapolis Colts struggled at times against the Chiefs with the running game, and if the New England Patriots can keep the Blount going on the ground, they should have very good success and a better chance of winning the game. And the final play I want to talk about is the Seattle Seahawks and their use of movement plays. Some movement plays are like bootlegs, zone reads, and play action rollouts that allow Russell Wilson to see all of the defense. Now he's only 6 feet, so he can't really throw over the lineman, so to get him moving in out of the pocket allows him to see the defense better. Here they're against a 4-3 defense. They're out the offset eye, means the fullbacks underneath the guard rather than the eye where he's underneath the quarterback. Here they're going to have a crossing pattern, Doug Baldwin, and they're going to have a corner pattern with Golden Tate. Again, they're playing two deep zone. The safety's here, safety there. They're going to fake. They're going to do a fake. They're going to fake the stretch play. Very common run in the NFL. We're going to fake the stretch. It's not going to be a zone stretch. It's going to be a man stretch. We're going to fake the stretch one way. And I got Zach Miller here. He's going to run in route. Linebacker's going to follow. Going to fake the stretch. Gets good blocking. But the key to the Seahawks offense is Russell Wilson's ability to move out of the pocket. It's harder for him to stand in the pocket and throw the football because he's short. But because they get him moving, he's able to see the defense a lot easier, and it helps him throw the football. Here he completes a nice pass, Doug Baldwin on the cross. Another thing the Seahawks like to do is use the zone read. Zone just means they're using zone blocking, and then of course, the read option part. They use it. They don't use it a lot, but when they do, it is very effective. Here they're in a shotgun set. They've got the defense in a nickel, which is an ideal defense to run against because there's only two linebackers compared to a base defense of 3. So here they got a zone read here. They're in a nickel. The safety's cheating down, so there might be a blitz. They're going to have the receivers block on the outside. Now, and Russell Wilson's going to read this guy out here, the outside linebacker. That's the key in the zone read. You read the outside linebacker if it's a 3-4 defense, commonly, or the defensive end in a 4-3. Here's playing the nickel. He's going to look at the outside linebacker or the defensive end, and he's going to read him, see if he's coming inside, then Russell Wilson's going to go outside. But if the defensive end goes outside, Russell's either going to keep it inside or hand it off to Marshawn Lynch up the middle. Offense that is mostly based on eye awareness. For the defenses, they have to have good eye training so they don't fall for the reads. Now in this case, the defensive end comes inside, so Russell, he's not going to take it inside, he's got to go outside. Going to fake the read with Marshawn Lynch, and for Russell Wilson, all he's going to do, fake it, come outside, pick up the first down. Again, just going to fake, run a little zone stretch right here, zone stretch run right here. Again, another out of the pocket play, picks up 12 to 14 yards, picks up the first down, moves the ball. For the Seahawks, their key in this game, as well as their entire playoff run, they're going to have to get Russell Wilson moving. They can keep him moving, they'll have a very good chance of winning. They got to get him moving, either on rollout plays, bootlegs, or they can also get him running here, for example, like we just showed on read plays. And that's it for me. I'm Devereaux Frazier. I'll meet back up with you guys later next week to recap the Divisional Round and preview the AFC and NFC Championships. Again, I'm Devereaux Frazier. Hope you enjoyed watching. Have a good night.